Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you have been following me through, you probably know who I am. If not, I am Gary, and today I'm going to talk about the first project out of the four that's going to launch in the core central area, namely Great Wall. If you are following me since May as well, I've been talking about core central projects, and leading on today, we have more information about the first project that's going to be launched. I'll introduce it later. But before that, let me introduce my summer intern, Charlene.
Hi, I'm Charlene.
Yeah, special shout out if anyone is looking for an internship. She's gonna end hers. So drop me your resume through my WhatsApp or through an email, and I'll be very happy to see whether we can work out something here. Okay, so what are we gonna talk about today, Charlene?
We're going to talk about Promenade Peak.
Okay, so Promenade Peak is gonna be the first project to be launched in Great Wall. We gotten more information from the developers, so I'll release it through this video. And the likely launch date is going to be on 19th of July onwards. So if you want to book yourself a VIP preview, do drop me a WhatsApp through my link or my WhatsApp below, and I'll be very happy to walk you through as well. Okay, so let's see what we're going to talk about today. For the first part, I'm going to do a reintroduction of Great Wall to everyone. Just a quick recap why Great Wall has such interesting attributes that mimics the buying pattern of homeowners in the past few years. And after which, Charlene will bring us through the project detail and development mix, the developer's track record, and number 4 I'll talk about is Promenade Peak's key features, condo unit density, the condo views, skyscraper, as well as having this skyscraper effect. How does it impact the value of your house? Okay, and finally, number 5 we also talk about is the exit strategy. So what is the entry price advantage over here at Promenade Peak? And Charlene will bring us through the HDB upgraders that we can expect to sell to or exit to in the future. And then finally, we will talk about the final cheap supply at Great Wall. Okay, and of course, this time round, I would like to include a condo rating from Promenade Peak, and so that everyone else can have an idea of how I think or what we think about Promenade Peak. Okay, shall we begin? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so to reintroduce Great Wall, I have been talking about Great Wall for at least 2 videos. This is the 3rd content already. Basically, because I feel that there is a very strong reason why 4 different developers would like to bid and actually build condos around the Great Wall MRT. Namely, because this fulfills the buying pattern of homeowners, investors in the past few years. Because if you have been looking around for houses, I'm sure the very first common thing you want to look for is number 1, convenience. And when we talk about convenience, you want it to be number 1 near the MRT. And in Great Wall, you're literally right on Great Wall MRT. If not, you have a choice of going to Havelock MRT, which is where Promenade Peak would be closely situated to. Okay, and the next thing they want also, buyers would like to have a mall, for instance, and then that is where Great Wall City is. They will want to be near a primary school so that there is an option of sending their kids to the school. And in such a case, for Great Wall, we have River Valley Primary, and if I'm not wrong, 1 or 2 kilometers, you have also Alexandra Primary School. Okay, and number 3, thirdly, buyers also want to be able to have the option of having cheaper amenities. When we talk about cheaper amenities, it's like wet market, it's like a hawker center, and that is where Zion Market as well as Tiong Bahru Market is of very close proximity to the Great Wall area. And finally, this has been a trend going on in the last few years or so. Many contents has been talking about HDB upgraders because they form the pool of our future exit strategies also. So right on, if we are in Great Wall, we are actually at the nearest point towards town. And before that, you have places like buyers that will come from Queenstown, Bukit Merah, and even Red Hill, or even within Havelock itself, there is going to be new HDB coming up that will form your future pool of resale buyers. Okay, and finally, I think Great Wall ticks the nice box in the sense that it can give you a bit more in terms of elevated lifestyle. What do I mean by that? You're literally next to Singapore River, Robertson Quay, that also leads you down to Clarke Quay as well as Boat Quay, which means that if you haven't had the chance to live along the riverside, I guess there is a reason why many expats are very attracted to Robertson Quay, Singapore River, this area as an area to rent, and because of the lifestyle over there. And I think this also helps to build on the attractiveness of the condos within Great World itself.
Promenade Peak features a single iconic 63-story tower housing 596 residential units. So, an interesting fun fact would be that this will be one of Singapore's tallest purely residential building. And this is strategically located in RCR District 3.
And this project
will help you to enjoy proximity to both the city centre as well as mature residential estates. And this comes with a 99-year leasehold and sits at an estimated 9,259 square meters. And the expected date of TOP is Q4 of 2029. The expected date of
2029.
Yeah.
TOP.
Okay. The expected date of TOP is 2029.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
With such a prime location, I think Promenade Peak is designed to be a landmark development and one that would combine the city edge, convenience with like a sky-high
living experience.
Yeah.
And having mentioned about this, I think one of the key features I was sharing with Charlene the last time is that, fun fact, later she'll go to talk about the developer. Promenade Peak is also the developer that owns Great World. Remember we talked about that before. So I think it is one of the iconic part that we mentioned earlier, that they also want to have a landmark, not just their landmark shopping mall. They also want to have a landmark residential right in front of Great World. And I believe they have been waiting for this piece of land for quite long, which I'll share a bit more later on the developer track record. Yeah, okay.
So
Moving on
to the unit type, I think there's a fair mix of like own stay and investor unit types. And something to note is that there's actually quite a low number of one-bedroom units here, and it's only spread across 40 stories. So on average, each level will only have two one-bedroom units. And this is quite ideal if you're looking for own stay, especially if you don't prefer to live with like too many tenants. And in general, once the landlord is done renting out the unit for around 7 to 10 years, after making some good amount of rental income, right? They might cash out at a lower profit. Which could affect
a bit of profitability down the road.
Profitability. But I think having a lower number of one bedrooms can avoid this problem. So there's still price preservation for other units. And additionally, the number of two bedroom units make up majority of this unit mix. And it seems like the developer is trying to target younger families or like smaller families or even dual income with no kids. Dinks. Yeah.
If you are a ding, tell me like my video.
And another important thing to note is that these two bedroom units are around 646 to 796 square feet.
Yes.
So given such a harmonized size plot, I think this amount of space is very livable, especially in the long run for such demographics. And looking at the 4 and 5 bedrooms, you can see that they are above level 44. So I think that the developers are trying to charge a possible premium on the views and the high floor.
And I would think that because obviously the 4 and 5 bedroom people, the buyers, they're gonna pay quite a fair bit of premium, right? So the developer wants to preserve the high floor. So at least, you can, if you're facing the Singapore River, remember we discussed facing Singapore River, you get the whole view of the fireworks, Marina Bay Sands. If they do it on the other side, you might get an unblocked view all the way towards Tanjong Pagar, the southern waterfront kind of view as well.
Moving on to amenities, you can expect to see working pods with leisure lounges at level 22. So I think it's suitable for people who work from home like me.
See my intern very shook.
Very shook.
From home one day. Continue.
Okay, continue. So there are also basic amenities that you can expect, like a gym and like pools. But what's unique is that they also have a pickleball. Oh my god.
Pickleball. Is there a new sport after pickleball? Okay, pickleball court.
Okay, I restart. What's unique is that they actually have a pickleball court, which is a growing sport amongst those in their 20s, 30s, And I think it's a very relatively easy sport to pick up as well, like compared to tennis, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and they even have a boxing arena, which is so cool. Yeah.
I guess they are trying to do something different, and also considering that the age group of the people that are staying here probably not your generation lah, my generation, probably my generation lah. So we are a bit more lifestyle as compared to the older generations that are 15 years older. So sometimes these are little things that people will consider, not just because of the pricing, but they also want to see what kind of facilities, what kind of amenities, and then what kind of lifestyle activities that the developer can actually cater for the residents in the particular condo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on the roof level, you can even find an infinity pool and more leisure zones.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
like MBS like that.
Yeah, literally, maybe you can say wave to the infinity pool at MBS.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Okay.
Interesting, right?
Good.
Let's move on to our developer track record.
Yeah.
So the development of Promenade Peak will be led by All Green Properties. And they are known for projects like Great World City, which is right across the road, like what you mentioned just now. So I think it's no surprise that they would want a trophy project right across from the iconic shopping mall, right? Yeah. And they are a Band 1 developer, which means they have very good quality interior and finishings and have a proven track record across all different kinds of developments, from residential, retail, to like mixed use.
In fact, if you can see from our presentation, the developer has done quite a fair bit of projects in the last few years. Namely, of course, very popular is Pasir Ris 8. Pasir Ris 8 sits right above Pasir Ris Cross Island Line, and it is also connected to a mall, and it is ready right now, so you guys can actually have a real feel of how the developer actually, the quality and finishes if you visit Pasir Ris 8. And not just that, they also done projects at Bukit Timah like Royal Green, and another project that is connected or close to the MRT in the Bukit Timah area, which is 4th Avenue Residences. So yeah, so I believe like what Shamini has mentioned, this Promenade Peak, there's a reason why is it called Promenade Peak lah. On top of that, it is gonna be a trophy project for All Green, and I'm sure in such a case, and this plot, like I mentioned earlier, they have waited for very long, because special shout out to my Chakim brothers, that back then, if you know, you go to Zoop many years back, that is actually where Promenade Peak is a HDB development. It has been, of course, en bloc removed. Then the government let the land sit for a while, rest for a while. They built up the MRT below, and then they start to release. Since last year, they put up for the land bid. So easily, this piece of land has been vacant, setting aside, getting ready for this blockbuster launch for the past probably 10-15 years in the making. So henceforth, it won't come as a surprise to me that a developer wants to literally make it an iconic development with just how we described an infinity pool at the level 63. Literally should be higher or similar to MBS. So I think this is going to be a very interesting development, very eye-capturing. So one of the key things when you want to talk about a condo, so you must be present. You can see. People drive past, they can see, they are aware, and then when they ask you, I stay at Promenade Peak, wow, that kind of attention that you can get. Right, Promenade Peak, back to its key features, I think one of them is the condo unit density. Okay, so typically when you think of a single-story condominium, you think about CBD area, you think about the Cliff, you think about Beyond Shenton. They tend to be very congested, or it feels like everything is very cramped and close together. Whereas for Promenade Peak, if you can see from my slide, right, it actually, if you divide down the number of units versus the total gross area that the developer has for this place, each unit actually have a space of about 993.6 square meters. Okay, this in comparison, because they have to do some comparison to understand the closeness, right? So for example, if you compare to River Green, which is going to launch also in the August period, okay, each unit only has about 686.2, which is relatively smaller space for each unit. And how do we draw a comparison? I think it's best, like I picked one of my favorite projects is called Jadescape. Okay, so for Jadescape, it has a gross floor area of 1,259,495 out of 1,206 units. So in most people's mind, wow, this condo seems to be very congested because I have 1,206 units, but they forget to consider the land size. But if you were to look at it and divide down, you can realize that every unit, actually the size, or rather the space that they have is about more than 1,000. And henceforth, if you have visited Jadescape before, you can actually feel that the space there is quite generous. It's not cramped up, and I think this is something that is very closely related to Promenade Peak. You might be able to get that kind of effect as well. Okay, if not, we can also take a comparison to Emerald of Katong, which is one of the best performing project in November 2024. I mean, that is the one that is sold more than 90%. Okay, that also creates an average space for everyone that is about 916.1, which is very close to Promenade Peak. So what I'm trying to say is that typically when we think about central area condos, they tend to feels a bit claustrophobic, feels a bit close together because of the small land size. Then again, at Promenade Peak, developer decided to actually allow more space, more livable environment. And I think this is one of the key features of Promenade Peak. If you compare it to the surrounding condos, is number one, it gives you a huge space. It is very huge. It gives you a very big space and it's very huge on livability. And that is the drive that I think the developer is going for. Okay, then on top of that, I think the second feature is, of course, views. I mean, as much as we are mostly concerned about price being primordial, price, the PSF, the size of the unit, the layout of the unit, I think sometimes one of the key features that condo buyers will be looking for is the views. What kind of unblocked views that I've been getting throughout. And interestingly to note, not just what Shirley mentioned earlier, Promenade Peak being the single tallest residential, it is also number 5 in the whole of Singapore list of skyscrapers, which includes those that are mixed development, okay, at 240 meters high. And if you have a chance to visit LTES or Sky Suite at Anson, you go up to level 71 or 72, you can actually experience what does it mean by 250 meters above the ground. The view is awesome. Of course, that is a sky deck. That is not the unit that you're living in. And on the contrary side, some people might not want to live at such a high floor, also. So Promenade Peak presents itself, because if you realize how the developer was to do his unit mix, right? The 1-2 has up to 44 level 44 if I'm not wrong, and then all the way up is the 3, 4 and the 5 bedrooms. Okay, and finally, having this skyscraper effect also generates a very interesting point on the value of the condo when you buy into. What do I mean by that? I think that it is an interesting hedge for you in terms of your exit resale asking price. Or what do I mean by this? Okay, so if you have seen on the left side, okay, these are some of the condos that has been launched before Alta, Emerald of Katong, the Ori, Albania. Okay, so if you see Alta and the Ori, they are both 39 and 40 stories high, and you can see that the average price at level 20 being at 2007, for Alta being at 2,546, and it shoots up more than 300 PSF to 2,881 for level 38. Okay, and what does that mean? Later I'll show you in terms of the absolute quantum if we take an average 2-bedroom size. Okay, if you look at the Ori also has such an effect, because at the average height, at the average median height of 2,731 PSF transacted, the highest floor transact at more than 3,000 PSF, 3,064 PSF. And what does this mean? If you follow me through, okay, you can see that if I put it into absolute terms, for Alta, if you are very, very fortunate, you have a very good ballot number, of course, and you manage to get a low floor unit, you could probably buy into the 2-bedroom at an average of 700 square feet at $1.54 million. This is 242,000 cheaper than the median or the mid-floor unit at 1.782. And then this is 476,000 cheaper than the highest floor. And this is a very interesting phenomenon because when you turn it around, what I'm trying to say is that when you turn it around into the resale market, this price difference will follow you through to the resale market. And can I say that because of this price difference, it's also a lot easier for you to exit down the road. Okay, but of course, I mean, Shirlene also mentioned to me that then the level plays a part, right? Because you're getting a low floor unit, the views might not be so great. People might not want to pay for a lower floor unit, possibly lah. Of course, end of the day, I think yes, features of the house make sense, but most important also the entry price for the buyers. At least we can get a bigger pool of buyers if we are at a lower exit price, as compared to if we were to buy in to the highest floor, for example, and you pay almost 400,000 more. I think that is what I meant when we talk about hedging against through this kind of skyscraper effect. And this is evident because recently I did a case also in the resale market. I brought my buyers to go and see Commonwealth Towers, which is also 40 stories. So we are looking for a 3-bedroom premium unit, and we chanced upon a low floor unit that's around level 5. It was going for $2.38 million thereabouts. Then comparably for a higher floor unit that was on sale at the point of time at level 38 or 37, if I'm not wrong, it was going for $2.8 million. So naturally, if it's the same layout, same size, 2.8 million versus $2.38 million, which have a price gap of 500k, which one do you think my buyer picked?
Of course, the lower floor.
Yeah, because the lower floor, you're right. I mean, this is not staged, obviously, because the price gap is too big. It's 500,000, and then this 500,000 really can go into your renovations. It can also go into your savings, and in fact, because of the lower entry pricing, right, my buyer, even though they are family nucleus, she's able to buy on her own and keep one of the husband's name free for something else in the future. So I think this is something that is very interesting.
So the TLDR is that lower floor,
yeah,
easier to exit, right?
That's why you need an intern. Excellent choice. Of course, we need to take note of the features lah. You know, sometimes low floor, other facing, then road noise, because technically speaking, Promenade still sits between two major roads ma. Okay, so it really depends on how the developer wants to do the site plan lah, which we haven't had any information on that yet. Okay, so literally, if I were to do up the same concept for Promenade Peak, I can only do up based on an average testing price. So I put it at around 3,150 because I don't think the developer will want to have an average price below 3,000 based on my experience and how property prices has been running for the past few years, and also because of the average height being at level 32. Okay, so if we were to do a per level drop of between 8,000 to 11,000 to 12,000, I think the lowest floor of the 2-bedroom should be sitting around 2-bed 2-bath, probably should be sitting around $1.948 million, and that is 256,000 cheaper than the medium floor unit that is at level 32. Okay, and then of course so on and so forth, you'll be able to see the price difference moving forward. And there is one interesting feature about buying into a skyscraper kind of condominium. But that does not mean that you should definitely follow this, because everyone buys for different reasons. Like we said, that this condo was designed more for dings, maybe dual income with a dog. Dings, maybe for dual income with dogs, for them, or for the simple one kid family, you know. So they might also place other importance into this new house, because maybe they came from the RCR region, the OCR region, and to them this is really elevate their lifestyle. I'm here for the long stay. You won't be surprised some of the buyers actually mentioned, Gary, I'm not going to turn around this house. It's not a short stay, it's going to be a long stay, it's going to be a 10 years, 15 years kind of stay, because I really like this location. So then people will be more willing to pay for slightly more premium, because they're not going to buy another place, right? Okay, so this is what I feel that having this skyscraper effect actually add values into the overall price of your asset. Okay, and I think how this discussion is being structured is, of course, also to be able to